Hello everyone, welcome to the Watch Poplars. Today I'm going to be repotting my Twinberry honeysuckle, and I have another one, a backup that I will dig up because the bigger one here died over the summer when I was in Colorado. The little one miraculously survived, and I think this is the only growth it got. No, actually, it got more growth than that. It grew quite a lot more. It was like up to here by the end of the summer, and I pruned it back, and I think this is what grew in after. I'm here at the barrel, which I will dig this from. There's two of them actually. There's a weak one here and a really strong one here. This one used to be like just a tiny little stick with roots and yellow leaves and a green bud at the top in January last year. So I'm going to dig both of them up, and I'm probably going to plant them in a different container, but I don't know. Yeah, there's a bit of cat shit in here, so I gotta be careful. I don't use my hands when I'm ready to dig it up. There's a bunch of this invasive grass. I don't know what kind of grass this is, but it's coming up through the cracks in the barrel. And might be Bermuda grass, I'm not sure. That could very well be true. So hopefully the dry, arid summer had not make the root base happen too deep. Oh, there's some nice mycorrhiza in here. So yeah, I think that yellow root is part of the honeysuckle. That's what I remember them having. They had kind of these yellowish roots. The soil's very, very compact, but well, actually, not near nowhere as compact as soil in the wild. Yeah, I think these yellow roots are from the honeysuckle. I'm just gonna try getting this one little out. Okay. So there's the little honeysuckle. It's starting to leaf out, and it has a good root base. It has a good starting root base, and I'll do just a slight bit of root correction and plant this, but I'm gonna just bury it in the soil right now because it's quite warm and it's dry and it's sunny. So yeah, the yellow roots are from the honeysuckle. Now, this one, I think this is going to be a bit difficult to remove. So I'll come back when I've removed this and excavated it. I gotta just point out that I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing, but like the popularity of my channel has kind of like dramatically increased. So I don't know what's happening, but thank you very much for the support, I guess. So continuing with this, I am raking outward radially away from the tree because I don't want to tear off any radial roots, because those are the ones that are going to make one of the most attractive features in a bonsai come true in this tree or bush, this riparian shrub in the honeysuckle family, Capifoliaceae, which is fun to say. A lot of the scientific names are very, very fun to say. There's Ranunculaceae, which ranunculus sounds like a spell in Harry Potter, and Capifoliaceae kind of goes up and down. You can hear it. And there's Santalaceae for the American mistletoe family. It kind of sounds like Santa. There's a I don't know, Comelaceae. There's so much. And a lot of the scientific names are actually names that you'd find chosen for people, like Magnolia. Or some people are named Ivy. Well, but Ivy's not scientific. But Hedera would be good. Hedera would be a great name for a human. There's there's lots of fun stuff with plants. I think I could just tear it out. I don't really want to. Oh, there's some big roots in here. I won't be keeping those big roots. I'll be keeping the fine roots. Oh yeah. I'm so close. I could just cut it off. Oh. Okay. There. I got it. Gotta be careful not to rub off the buds. So there's the two cuttings. So now I'll come back to the bench and pot them up. So now I'm going to wash them. This will not only clear the roots of the soil and kind of refresh them, but also make it easier to see what's going on. But also because they're kind of dry. It hasn't rained in like a week or more actually, I think. No, I think it's been like a week since it rained. And there's more than a week remaining until the next rain comes. This water smells very interesting. I don't know why. It smells very sweet. Why does it smell sweet? If there's fermented leaves at the bottom of this, it smells like honey. I don't know. But there's the roots on the little one. So I'll put that there, and then the big one. Oh, gotta be careful. I'm gonna make sure all the soil's out. I have now bare rooted them. So, the cuttings I collected, I think they were originally 2023's growth. So I think this is the growth from 2023. That was the original cutting. And it didn't grow much in 2024, so I see a junction where the nodes tighten right here. There's a kind of a collar right here, and then this looks like this year's growth on the rest of it. And then, no, last year's growth. And then the buds, the green buds all along the trunk are this year's growth coming in soon. So I'm going to get these, but also I have to get this one out. This one's dead. Yeah, completely dead. This one is alive. Ooh. Huh? Oh, did I remove a bud? Okay. No, I didn't. Huh? Okay. Yeah, I did not. So, I'm going to get the root rake. I'm going to rake it out. Very exciting. I could plant them in the same container. Could plant them in a bigger container. I think I would like to reuse the container, so that's what I'll do. Some Epilobium ciliatum with a C instead of an S. Ciliatum is growing in here. That's native. It's a weedy native. You find it in wet areas. I don't like calling native weeds because it just makes it sound like they're just invasive, which I think is kind of an insult. So, in January last year, I did some root work to these, and I noticed that they have very white roots. Oh, I just washed these. I don't want to get them dirty. So yeah, they have very white roots. They do. They still do. So yeah, some of the roots are actually green. It's very interesting. There's a green root right here. And I added lots of gravel to this soil, so that's great. It makes it more granular. Maybe help the roots grow in a better way for bonsai. But there's lots of tangled roots here. So I'm just gonna tear out the tangles with the root rake. And that it automatically keeps your flowing roots, but also kind of reduces the size of the root mass. Alright, I've almost got it bare rooted. And I'll be able to wash this one soon. Just gotta get a little bit more of the soil out, so there's a gravel bit. A piece of quartz. Okay, that's done. I will wash it. Alright. So now, I'm gonna start with the first one I have worked on. There's a big thick root going to the sides right here. And that, I guess it's on a better area. I'm not sure. I think I'm gonna remove it because most of the roots are in one plane at the bottom, but also because the trunk doesn't look so bad from being this tall. If the soil line was like right here, that wouldn't look so bad. So yeah. Now I'm gonna remove these higher roots here. And one's going upward, and one's going in weird directions. Like there's this, where is it? This root here. That one's not going in a good direction. So that's good on the bottom. Now, if I look at it from the top, I'm gonna correct any crooked roots. There's a root here that's kind of crooked. That root. Okay, the sun's finally going down, so you can probably see my face better in the light. And do a profile prune. Now I'm gonna flatten it to the bottom. There's an upward root that goes like that. I don't want that here. So I'm gonna prune that off. Okay, there's a crossing root here. I'm gonna correct that. This one is cranked. This one also crosses. So you don't want crossing roots mostly, unless that's a feature you're actually trying to achieve. But there's a root that crosses over this root. I'm gonna remove it because that's not what I want. You don't often see that in nature on like big trees. I'm actually gonna remove that stub completely because there's a better root under it. So upward root here, trying to stick out. There's a high root here, and I'm gonna remove that. High one here. There's a very bizarre root here. A very, very bizarre root. It really cranks to the side. And it starts right here, and then cranks to the side like this. It goes under this root above my scissors. So I'm gonna correct that. So there's better roots right under that one. Very radial. Nice and radial roots. But this is root is a bit too high. It's way too thick as well, so I'm gonna remove that. Maybe I should cut these flush eventually. There's a root here. I don't want any high roots. I paused the footage, and I'll work on the other ones next. I think I can actually finish pruning this. Maybe. Squirrel. So there's a bud right here. It's on the outside of a curve, which is nice. It's good. You don't want one on the inside of a curve. There's a big stub right here I'm gonna clean up. Oh, it's hard. Okay, so I'm not really concerned about where I'm holding. There are buds that I'm holding. They're probably gonna fall off. However, there's a pair of buds right below my fingers, so that's fine. To remove this big stub. It's a big stub without removing. Okay, I didn't remove this shoot. It's a valuable shoot. And now I could prune this off like that, and that would make a nice little tree. I think I'm gonna do that. Yeah, because it's quite thick up here. I would like it to kind of taper a bit more. So I'll do that. That could grow as a cutting. That would very much grow as a cutting, but I don't want to keep it. It's fine. I already have 3 now. So now I'm going to work on this little one. Now I did collect a bit of roots, dirt, but hopefully my scissors don't mind. And it didn't appear that they did mind, but now this is really nice. Now there's this big stub. I'll clean the top off, and that's good. But now both of these branches are going in the same direction, so I have a bud way at the bottom here. I'm gonna just leave it. It's quite weak genetically. That's probably why it's so small. No, actually, I don't know. The genetics don't vary with cuttings. So I don't know. That's just a weak cutting, but it's alive and it survived. So yeah. Okay, now this. I do not want this straight section here, so I'm gonna have to do a big root pruning. Or depends. So if I can keep that root, this surface root, towards the level of the soil, then I can keep most of the roots below that. However, I'm gonna do one of my tricks, and I'm going to scratch a section of the trunk where that surface root is. And that will promote some more root growth. Okay, it's very, very dense in here. Very, very dense with roots. I'm just gonna I'm gonna remove these big, big roots. So that it focuses the energy on growing that surface area. Now, I don't think it will have a problem if I don't prune these bigger roots, but just want to be extra careful. It looks like I tore off a root right here. That's going to grow a large amount of roots. That little tear point. But yeah, it's turning white. Oh yeah, it's rotting in this section right there. However, there is, oh wow, it's actually rolling over. Now the resolution of the video is going to be a bit difficult, but there's a section of this cutting that is rotting out, and it's the bright spot facing the sun right here. That's rotting out. It's white. It's kind of pink as well. However, the wound is rolling over, and there's a big root growing right there. So it's kind of interesting. I also really love the pattern of the roots when they grow along the stem. Now, maybe you can't see it, but just the way it's growing, like right here, and then the vertical lines in the trunk, kind of looks like a redwood. Kind of looks like the way redwoods grow. The branches go very downward, and they kind of go like that. But yeah, very nice. So I'm gonna continue root pruning this. It's so dense right here, and I can't just prune it blindly. I have to thin it out. So now I think I'm gonna just, I don't think this will have a problem if I prune it really hard, but I just want this to kind of recover quicker, so I'm gonna do some nicks right here. Just slightly exposing the cambium. Not gouging it. But just enough that I disturb the cambium. And it tries to callus over, and then that will form roots. So yeah. Okay, good. Now, I'll just finish the root pruning. I'm gonna prune this a little bit further. So that's looking nice. Now the top. I have two buds, two very full buds, actually a whirl of buds right there. So I could theoretically create a broom style, just with a bunch of branches coming off of the trunk. Or I could prune it anywhere along here. These are last year's leaves. They're semi-evergreen bushes. I don't know. I'm gonna prune to this bud here. So prune the top off. That would also root as a cutting. Look at the bud. These are very interesting plants. Like, not many honeysuckles grow like this. This grows more like an oso berry. It also looks more like an oso berry, but it just has lighter green foliage. Oso berries have very blue-green foliage. Okay, I think I'm gonna leave it like that, Because maybe something will develop on this side that I can just kind of refresh this branch here. Because otherwise, it is, I don't know. We'll see. But right now, it looks like by the end of this year, there's going to be 3 big trunks right here coming out of here, which, you know, it's going to cause a big thickening area. But, yeah, I'm just going to leave it like that. I'm gonna stick these in the ground somewhere. Where I'm gonna stick these by the faucet. Because apparently some of the willow cuttings that I put in here that I'm not even trying to make them touch the soil, they have started to root themselves into the ground. The cutting of honeysuckle is here. There's a bud there, there's these leaves here. That's the honeysuckle cutting. I'm gonna just stick this right here. It's gonna love all the moisture. It's in a fair location. So like just like that. And that's probably gonna root. They root like crazy. A lot of honeysuckles, they root from cuttings very easily. And that's because they grow near streams, so they gotta have a high water mobility. They gotta transport water quick enough that they can propagate themselves if they get dislodged or broken. So now, I think this container works for these. I have filled it up with soil, the original soil. I'm gonna just make sure if that's enough. Probably isn't. I can always use extra, which I think I will. Now I'm gonna position these trees. I'm balancing on the balls of my feet. So I think they're at a good level. I'm gonna put the thickest one in the middle. I might going to reuse some of the soil from the ZZ plants because it has, what is this? Is that a piece of clay? Why is it slimy? I don't know. It's fine. Anyway, I'm gonna just press it down. So now, there. So I'm gonna put the side that has less roots towards the front where there is more room for the roots to grow. Okay, my feet hurt. Okay, my feet don't hurt anymore. Okay. So now, I'm gonna stick this. Because I want the roots to recover on this side. I'm leaving more room here. And it's because I want them to grow equally. Now, this smaller one goes here, and this medium-sized one goes here. So I will plant these. They're a lot stiffer than I thought they were going to be after doing this. So, I don't know. Despite these trying to pick out the soil from the roots instead of poking it into the roots, I guess it worked a little bit this time. So that was nice. Now I'm gonna press the soil down so that they don't get messed up again, because I'm done poking in the roots again. I'm done poking the roots now. And now it's time to add moss soon. I'm gonna just top off the soil. I need to loosen this up because it's kind of acting a bit stubborn. All right. Much better. It looks like an impenetrable water barrier, but this will drain slowly, and eventually it will drain quicker, and it won't just pool for a whole day. But regardless, this species, this Lonicera involucrata, is native to our streams, so it has a species. It is a species that has experienced submergence many times, and it has evolved to withstand that. And don't take this soil as, you know, a solution or something that works, because it really does not for bonsai. It's just, this soil is just, I guess, keeping them alive, but bonsai soil is something I can't really afford as a college student that is very busy. As a very young person doing bonsai that has many decades ahead of him of busyness, and not being retired and not having the time to, you know, keep up with the watering from using bonsai soil, because bonsai soil, it drains very quickly, and I am not always here to check up on my trees when they are in need of water, if they were in bonsai soil. So that's why I use this horrible, the worst bonsai soil of all, and I do anything I can to make it more porous or faster draining, which there are lots of solutions here. We have lots of gravel, we have crushed rocks, and yeah. When I've a succulent that's growing in a pot of crushed gravel, that blue rock, and it's doing very well. So hopefully I can incorporate that into some of my bonsai soil, but that material is limited because it's coming from a path, and I don't want to have to tear up the path. And eventually, if I do, let's say I do, which I won't, eventually I'll run out of that. But I really want to know where they got that from, because I need that. I need it, and I'll show you it right now. So here's what it's growing in, my succulent, and it's just growing in kind of ground up rock. You can see it gets kind of fine right here. So there are some fines that I can keep, make it more loamy, I guess. If that's the right word, loamy. I think loamy means it has like sand in it. I don't know, but this is great. Like this soil, I could probably just use this for bonsai soil, just pure crushed rock, because it has enough fines that it's not going to dry out too much, but it's also very porous. So every time I water it, adds air. It pushes air downward into the roots, and also roots need oxygen. Oxygen is one of the elements that roots need to grow healthy, and without it, then they don't really grow as well. But the tree cressula is growing very well, and I'm gonna do a lot of pruning to this in the summer. It's probably gonna end up looking a bit bare. Some of the leaves are falling off and turning yellow, but it's also quite bright green. But once I start fertilizing it in summer and it starts warming up, it's gonna green up a lot. And keep your succulents under like a shade structure during winter. Not shade, but just, you know, preferably like a transparent cover, So when it rains, they stay dry. Because a lot of succulents don't like rain during winter, when they're least happiest and when they're least able to suck up water. Here's the path. So there's a lot of it here. And I just kind of scraped it away. And I think I potted that succulent up in like June or May. Yeah, May. And yeah, so a lot of it all came from like here, and it's everywhere. Then I removed the seedlings. It's so nice for bonsai. Such a nice texture, because when a root hits a grain, it wants to branch out and grow around it. So like a root will hit a grain and then it'll branch like this, but then there's a whole bunch of grains around that so that it's just constantly branching, and that makes it get a whole bunch of root tips. And the more root tips that you have on a tree, the more vigorous it gets. And that's why good bonsai soil will make your trees grow like crazy. It's not just the fertilizer. You know, perlite also is good, has good nutrients, and it's a bonus. So maybe I should get just a pack of pure perlite and mix it in with the soil. Increase the volume of the soil, but also make it more functional. Now I'm putting moss on the honeysuckle, but there is a moss here from the previous video. And I'm gonna get... Okay. So... it's gonna take a while, so I'll come back when I'm done. I have not completely covered the soil, which is fine. It will fill in if I keep it moist, and it should fill in by the end of spring pretty well. Maybe I'm overestimating the speed of the moss growth, but that's fine. It will fill in by the end of the year, and it will look very nice. Just kind of filling in whatever pieces of moss I can find. I should resort to the moss from the roof eventually, because I might run out of the good moss, which is fine. Forever cultivating it. Like, I should probably like start. Okay, so this moss is very good. It's a different kind. Maybe it's the soil in this pot. These are my Chinese elms. And it was green like this all year round, so maybe that's another moss I can try cultivating. That's a cushion moss, not a spreading one. So it's gonna have a bit of a hard time crawling up the trees, which is really great, because you don't want moss crawling up your trees because it rots the bark eventually, and you might get undercut. But that's a very serious case of moss problems on your trees. Just making sure there's no other good pieces of moss remaining, and there aren't. You know what I did last winter is that when I was watering my trees, I had this tray, and it worked really well because I could put it over the barrel, and just set my trees on it while they drained. So that's what I'll do. I don't know how my phone is so not precarious, but it's not precarious. And it's just, I don't know what, it's like teetering, but it should be teetering, but it's not. It's interesting because when I was watering my trees with this water, it smelled like fermented leaves, but when I just smell, it smells like the dog shit somewhere near me, which is scary to think about because I don't want to step in it. It smells like a porta potty, exactly like, oh, because there is somewhere near there. Yeah. So yeah, I'm just gonna let this drain over this whatever it is, and dry my leaves off on this mullein right here. So maybe it is useful, but I'm never gonna let it flower because it's invasive. And hold on. Yeah. Cowboy's toilet paper. Oh, it's not. Oh. Oh, it doesn't smell good. I mean, it works. You get just the chunks of dirt off my hands, but it does not fully clean them. So maybe I can keep that one rosette of mullein. I just never let it flower. That one rosette. That's the only one exception. You can see the fuzz flying around in the air. That's the fuzz from the leaves. It's somehow dry adapted, but I've only seen it grow in wet areas in like the mountains. There is one in Marin County that I've seen. So I think that it's slowly draining. It's still pooled at the surface. I think that was Lady Gaga playing in that car. Anyway, yeah, so that is the Twinberry honeysuckle, and all repotted, pruned, and ready for ready for this year, because spring, it's already spring. And I'm very excited for this. And I've never seen a bonsai of this species before, but I can look it up. I don't think I'll ever find a picture of it, but I'll be the first one who posts pictures of it. As far as I can see, I might not be busy with the repotting for like another week, because I don't see any trees I haven't repotted that are in need of being repotted and are breaking dormancy. So that's good. And I might be able to work on the restoration area in the creek. It is in dire need of weeding. I guess the only update I have is that I pruned my sweet gum trees. And yeah, they're pretty much all bare. This seedling is so weak. Now they're bare, and I'm just waiting for the buds. I see a green bud here, but that was probably already there. But the twigs are quite skinny, so they might select. There might be a lot of deadwood selection to go in the next few months as they kind of reroute their plumbing. But another update I have is the valley oaks, which they have Phacelia seedlings growing in them, so that is awesome to see. There's a Phacelia seedling there. Is that one? I don't know. This one's here, and yeah, that's great news, because they're starting to germinate. So that's really, really nice to see. I love these Phacelias. But I pruned the oaks so that the buds, now I'm gonna have to separate them in a tray. So I could do that soon as well. That'll be a good one to do, and I have a nice tray for that. So yeah, that will be a good project to do in the future, so that it won't get crowded, because these are going to double in size this year. Oh, it's in the low 60s up there, but here it's 47 degrees. So that's super great. That is great. I know. So yeah, it still works. I haven't felt any air coming through here, it's not as cold. There used to be a big gap. We sealed that. I don't know. I think it's coming out of here. I don't know. But yeah, 40, 47, 48 degrees. That's great. So the larches, they're still alive, but there's a dead cockroach in there. No, dead grasshopper. It smells. It was in here. The water smelled horrible. The buds. There's still some green right here, so they're not dormant, at least American larch. But I heard that the Japanese larch can tolerate a little bit more warm weather, because it doesn't get as cold in Japan as it does in North America. Because these ones have a very tiny range, and in the mountains, I forgot what island of Japan, but this one they can tolerate well below 0, because they grow up in Canada and all over the place. Yeah, so, but the buds, there are no green buds on them. There's no green buds, so that's great. They're not swelling yet, so that's very good. So, but it's still, I've been trying to keep up with the ice on these, but I gotta do that more often. Oh, there's a salamander right here. But the aspen trees are doing well. They're not shriveling up or anything, and they shouldn't be. And yeah, I think they're both gonna recover a little bit. I don't know about the larches, but we'll see. Here, among the watch poplars,